Well, a very good morning, everyone, and welcome to Enrich Talk. Enrich Talk is a monthly policy dialogue session created to strengthen public awareness, accountability, and promote civic engagement in the discussion of sustainable development issue. My name is Heng Pekadai. I'm the founding chairman of the Enrich Institute, and it's my great pleasure to be your host for this morning talk. With Enrich Talk, each month we bring together policymaker, experts from development partner and NGO and private sector to come and discuss on a particular issue related to sustainable development. And today we're going to focus on Sustainable Development Goal, or SDG in short. As you probably know, that at the United Nations Sustainable Development Summit on the 25th of September 2015, the world leader adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development to end poverty, fight inequality and injustice, and tackle climate change by 2030. The Sustainable Development Goals are a set of ambitious goals, 17 overall, and 169 targets that were defined and developed through an unprecedented dialogue among UN member states, local authorities, civil society, private sector, and other stakeholders. SDG actually built on the Rio Plus 20 outcome and Millennium Development Goal, which already know has 8 anti-poverty targets that the world committed to achieving by 2025. SDGs are universal, meaning that they apply to every country in the world. So every national, local, and regional government play an important role in the implementation of SDG. But to ensure that the global goals are applicable and achievable in local context, each country required to undertake an SDG localization process. And that's what we're going to discuss today, the localization of SDG in Cambodia. So to what extent are the 17 global goals relevant to Cambodia? What mechanism is used to localize the goal? Who have been involved? And what might the Cambodian SDG look like at the end of the localization process? So I'm very honored to have 3 distinguished speakers on the panel today who have extensive experience working in this area and who will share their personal view and experience to some of those questions. So please allow me to introduce briefly our speaker. So my first speaker on my right is Excellency Poitswandi. He's the Deputy Director of Planning from Ministry of Planning. And then the second speaker, you probably know her already. She need no introduction, Madame Claire van der Reven, Resident Coordinator of the UN in Cambodia. And sitting next to me is Dr. El Sotiri. She's the head of program of the Cooperation Committee for Cambodia, or CCC, which is one of the largest and oldest NGO umbrella NGO organization in Cambodia. So thank you very much for all the speakers for joining our talk this morning. So let me start the discussion by asking each speaker to tell the audience briefly in what way or what capacity has your institution or organization engaged in the localization process of SDG in Cambodia. So, Excellency Swandi, you might want to start first. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Enrich Talk to invite me to join and give me an opportunity to provide idea about the SDG. And first of all, I would like to Mrs. Claire van der Reven from UN CO and Dr. as Terry. We are together, close together, working together. And I would like to a little bit about the SDG. Of course, I'm as a Deputy Director General of Planning, Ministry of Planning. My management appointed me as the focal point of SDG localization. So we are working with the line ministry. Of course, not only Ministry of Planning can work here alone. We are cooperate closely with the line ministry, and also we also working with development partner, especially UNLC, UNDP, UNFA, and also we are working also with NGOs in the process of SDG localization. I think that this is only brief. We will discuss a little bit more when we discuss about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Claire, how has the UN involved in this process?
Thank you very much. My respects to Enrich Institute and to our distinguished moderator, Mr. Picadet. Thank you, and my respect to fellow panelists this morning and to the audience. Thank you also to have invited us, the United Nations, to be part of this panel today. Our organization's role in the localization of the Sustainable Development Goals in Cambodia is to support the government in its lead role to integrate the SDGs into the local context. And as His Excellency said, we will come back to this in more detail later. And in so doing, I think to enable, to make sure that Cambodia benefits from the guidance, the experience, the capacity building opportunities that exist to support countries in this process, but also to support awareness raising in various ways.
Thanks. Dr. Sotiri, what has the CCC been doing with regard to SDG localization?
Okay, very good morning all. First, let me extend my sincere appreciation to the Institute for this invitation, and also my respect to the peer speakers of this morning session. I think probably you are having some understanding about what is the role of civil society in each of the democratic country, because we play a very important role, as already quoted by the UN, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, that civil society is the oxygen of democracy. So without having the role of civil society, we cannot ensure that development will be sustainable, will be brought into accountable. Thus, I would like to imply back that the role of civil society is very important in either in this localization process as well as in the implementation process. And so far, CCC, as the biggest and longest established membership-based organization in the country, has taken a leading role within other civil society organizations in ensuring that we have the space, we have the sufficient and professional input to be submitted to the government as well as other stakeholders in the process.
Thank you, Dr. Sotiri. So as you can see that we have a very good mix of speakers in the panel today. So one is the representative from Ministry of Planning, who is leading on this work, policymaker. And we got a UN resident coordinator who has been very active in supporting the process. And CCC actually brings the voice of the local people and working with relevant NGO in Cambodia to provide input into the localization process. My next question goes to Madam Claire. This may sound like a very basic question, but very fundamental one, the concept of localization itself. Why is localization process important for each country? Why don't we just take the goal and then implement it without localizing into local context? Please, Madam.
Thank you very much. Well, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development is an ambition, sort of articulates the ambition of member states, of all member states of the United Nations, to make the world a better place, as you said, to make the development sustainable by 2030, and to do that by leaving no one behind. So looking at the poor members of societies first. And so to achieve this, countries are going to play a major role. Countries are in the driver's seat. The agenda, as I said, is ambitious, and therefore countries are in the driver's seats, but they know that the SDGs cannot be achieved, the Sustainable Development Goals cannot be achieved without engagement of all stakeholders. So for all these reasons, it is very critical to, as a first step for implementing the 2030 Agenda and the SDGs, to first land this global vision of development into local contexts. And to do that by looking at alignment vis-à-vis national priorities, plans, policies, strategies, to look at how progress is going to be measured, and opportunities, capacities, issues linked to that. It's also important then to fully, as I said, integrate the SDGs into the national vision for sustainable development policies, strategies, and plans, to then bring all stakeholders behind this integrated national priorities that are infused with the SDGs, and to do that in a way that also looks at how the agenda is going to be, how the national priorities and plans that integrate the Sustainable Development Goals will be financed. How progress is going to be achieved, how it's going to be funded, and in that sense, to have an integrated approach is important. An integrated approach to planning, meaning multi-sectoral approach to planning, bringing all the national entities together around the mainstreaming, i.e. the integration of the SDGs into national policies, strategies, and plans, but also then empowering stakeholders to participate and to contribute. And these are all things to complement what I said earlier. These are all areas where the UN will work alongside Cambodia government and stakeholders towards the realization of national ambitions, national priorities, national goals to realize the ambition of the 2030 Agenda and the SDGs.
And as far as I understand, the concept of localization has also evolved a bit right now. Traditionally, localization meaning only implementation, so basically asking the local people, the local officer to implement what has been decided at the national level already. But now the concept, I think, has broadened a little bit. So now localization, I think, it's a more integrated and more comprehensive approach. So local officer, local government now are engaged from the very beginning in terms of setting goals, setting priority, defining indicator, stuff like that. Am I understanding correctly the concept of localization for SDG right now?
Yes, you can indeed look at the concept of localization from different perspectives. I think the great things about the SDGs, as you said, the great thing about the SDGs is that it's everybody's business. The SDGs belong to everybody. Anybody, therefore, can get engaged, and everyone is encouraged. Every stakeholder organizations are encouraged to reflect on what the SDGs mean for them, how they are going to contribute to the implementation of the SDGs. And of course, the royal government is there then to create the framework that will guide, what the country as a whole will be accountable for achieving in the at the UN, in the international community, vis-a-vis the high-level political forum, which is the assembly of member states that is looking at progress, along the way of both developed and developing countries, as you said, because the 2030 agenda is a universal agenda. But as this process is progressing of embedding, integrating the SDGs into the national framework for planning, policy making, and strategy setting, as I said, all stakeholders can, and many have, started to think about how they can contribute in the implementation.
Thanks, Leah. His Excellency Sawandi, since Ministry of Planning is leading on this work, so one question that I think everybody is very interested in knowing is, what is the process of localization of SDG in Cambodia? I know MOP has been leading on the work, but what institution are the institutions that have been engaged, and what has been done so far, Excellency?
Yeah, thank you. As Madam Claire just mentioned, the localization we can see different aspects, but in the context of Ministry of Planning work so far with the localization, we are looking to the global goal, target, and indicators of SDG, and we are trying to review all target, goal, target, and global goal, target, and indicator of a global SDG, and we can prioritize what are would be the good for applying in the national context. So the 17 goal and 169 target, we are all is approved to get it into the national context. But we still working with the indicators, because of some indicators still not appropriate with the Cambodian context. So some indicators still not, because all indicators related to the sector. So we are working with the line ministry by sector to review the indicators that and ask them to select the indicator can be applied in sector, their own sector. Of course, sector will become sector integrated will become the national one. So we are working on it. First, we select the indicator will be appropriate with the sector with the national context. And after that, we looking for the data support. So we ask line ministry to fulfill, after they collect the indicator, ask line ministry to fulfill in two tables. One table about what the agency responsible for the achievement, to make the plan to achievement the indicator, source of data, and cycle of data, and also the definition of indicators for each indicator. Well, very important also is the methodology to calculate the value of indicators, because each indicator we will ask them for to fulfill. The second table is about the baseline. So the mandate of SDG you already know, the 16 to 30, 16 to 2030. So the baseline will ask them to set the baseline for 2015 and target for each year from 16 to 30. So indicator that's selected from the line ministry must be fulfill all criteria. If the criteria not complete, the indicator will not approve. So all indicators that must be complete and will be combined together for the table and will be have the CSDG framework, Cambodian Sustainable Development Goal framework. So that's not the plan. So maybe it's related to the other question, the next question. But I just mentioned that the framework, CSDG framework, not the action plan, just framework. And to achieve the framework, we have to have tools for implement that framework. And of course, after the framework finished and approved by the government, the framework will be integrated into the national plan, like Madame Claire just mentioned, because of we will not have a separate action plan to implement to achieve the CSDG, because some countries like Nepal, I already saw that they have the policy framework, the action that they prepared only separate from national plan to implement to achieve the SDG in the context of Nepal. But in the context of Cambodia, we will not have separate plan because we already commit that we have only SDG in the national context, in national level. SDG is only national plan. We will integrate all, some policy strategy will integrate all into the SDG and SDP and implement to achieve all. So you may know an SDP is the tool for implement to achieve the rectangle strategy. You may know about the rectangle strategy. Now it's a rectangle strategy 3, that the high level policy of the government. So the rectangle strategy itself cannot implement. So we produce an SDP to implement to achieve the rectangle strategy. Right now is the rectangle strategy 3. And also the SDP we will use as a tool for implement to achieve the CSDG framework. So that's why we will be going to integrate CSDG framework into the next SDP. So right now is the current SDP is the mandate 2014-2018. The next will be 2019-2023. We will start prepare the next one from early 2018. So the framework must be finished in this year and integrate in the process of next SDP preparation.
Thanks, Excellency, for giving us an overview of what has the government done with regard to localization process. Dr. Sotiri, you mentioned in your introduction, and I couldn't agree more, that civil society play an important role in contributing to the sustainable development in Cambodia. So I'm wondering, how has civil society in Cambodia engaged and contributed to this localization process of SDG?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question, but probably it's quite hard for me to provide the answer, because if you see the structure of civil society in Cambodia is quite loose. We don't have a very structural or hierarchy decision-making process or agreed framework like the one having by the government and by our development partner. Like for the government, we have an SDP, National Strategic Plan, and for UN, we have United Nations Development Assistance Framework, UNDAC. But if we look at civil society, there is no agreed framework on how we can attribute or redirect all of our intervention into that agreed framework. So this is quite hard for us in mobilizing all the inputs within civil society itself. But I think so far we try to overcome that challenge. We try to talk to all the umbrella organizations in the country because we have more than 5,000 NGOs that were registered with relevant ministry, but somehow there are a couple of umbrella organizations that receive membership from those organizations. So more or less they have more representation, they have more voice, they have a consolidated effort that can talk, that can lobby with other stakeholders. So we have talked to those civil society umbrella group. We have talked to the provincial NGO networks. We have talked to some key influential international organizations in the country so that we can mobilize some inputs that will be submitted to the government and UN agency about what are the positions, what are the input of civil society regarding the SDG as well as the SDG localization process. So far we have framed our priorities in 5 of the areas. The first is on social inclusion and human development, and the second one is on inclusive economic growth. The third one is on natural resource management. The fourth one is on good governance, and the last one is on human rights to development. And luckily, we have realized that the 17 goals which were finally adopted by the United Nations contain all of the elements which were suggested or demanded by civil society in Cambodia. So we are kindly appreciate all the effort in considering the input from civil society. After that stage, after the SDG was already adopted, we already move to the other stage of how we can channel all the inputs to MOP, to the government regarding the localization process. CCC is one member of the National Technical Working Group on Planning and Poverty Reduction, and I think that working group plays a very important role also in this SDG localization thing. And using that membership, we try to talk to NGO Forum because NGO Forum is also another biggest umbrella organization in the country. And NGO Forum also standing as the member of that technical working group. So we try to talk to each other and how can we solidify our input before submitting to government, because too many channels from civil society may also confuse the government that which one really represents the voice of civil society. So we try to solidify our input and using that channel to submit every comment from civil society to the Ministry of Planning. And besides that, we also have some platform of dialogue and discussion with our stakeholders, like discussion within civil society itself about how can we better prepare ourselves to welcome the new agenda calling the SDG. We have the dialogue with the government, DP, and also private sector, because of course private sector is a very influential engine to drive that SDG. And here I think probably it's better also if we can have another speaker from private sector. Yeah. So we talk with those stakeholders on how we can prepare the partnership arrangement between those various actors for development to ensure that everyone has got the ownership, everyone has their own accountability to contribute to SDG. So there are various platforms that were organized by CCC. And next we also have what we call the evidence-based research, because the nature of civil society is to provide evidence-based advocacy to the government and other stakeholders. So if we want to channel our inputs and we want to drive their willingness to accept our input, we need to go along with the sufficient or reliable piece of information as well. So CCC and other organizations have produced quite significant number of research related to SDG mapping, like how many organizations are related to any specific goal of SDG, and what are the preparedness of Cambodian civil society toward the implementation of SDG. And I think there are many other pieces of research that were commissioned by other organizations. And last but not least, I think we have used our social media platform as the mean to contribute to that localization process. So whether through direct mean or indirect mean, we believe that our voice, our professional input would be considered by others along the process.
Thanks, Dr. Sotiri. It seems like a comprehensive approach to contribute to localization process. Madam Claire, Cambodia have done this before, the localization of the Millennium Development Goal back 15 years ago, I believe. So are we going through a similar process? What lesson can be learned from the localization of CMDG that can be applied effectively to CSDG, please?
Thank you very much. Well, on the positive side, building on successes, I think the CMDGs have shown, as the Excellency also has mentioned, that there is a strong alignment between the aspirations of Cambodia to be a society that is rid of poverty, that advances economically, etc., and the global vision for sustainable development. So there was a good alignment between the MDGs and the Cambodian national priorities. So the CMDGs were, in a way, easily adopted. Similarly, there's an expectation that the CSDGs will be easily adopted because there's a very strong coherence between the global agenda and national aspirations and priorities for sustainable development. Second, on the successes, I think as a result then the royal government integrated fully the MDGs into the National Strategic Development Plan through a process that has generated a lot of experience that is now being effectively applied for the integration of the SDGs into the National Strategic Development Plan, first creating the framework and then integrated that framework into the next. And there have been also developed over the last 15 years, as was also mentioned by CCC, some very good platforms of collaboration and dialogue of the government with stakeholders, among stakeholders, and these platforms are being used very much now also to host the dialogues and the discussion, the reflections on SDG, how the SDGs will be applied, how they align with national policies. I think the fact then that this is generating a single framework where there will be one set of national priorities that embed, that incorporate fully the SDGs is important, and that is something that has been developed through the experience with the localization of the MDGs and the creation of the CMDGs. I think there will be also in the CSDGs, we understand, His Excellency may confirm this, there was a 9th MDG on mine action, and likewise there will be an 18th Cambodian SDG on mine action being critical to sustainable development in Cambodia as well. So these are all part, I think, of the focus on indicators and monitoring and measuring results at the national level. That is another set of experiences and capacities that were built in the process of localizing the MDGs and developing the CMDGs that are very much informing and enabling the definition of the indicator set and the monitoring framework for the Cambodian SDGs. Now, on the opportunity side, and let me call these opportunities, there is also, I think, the realization that the SDGs are not MDG 2.0. The SDGs, the MDGs were, I would say, more perhaps weighted on the social dimensions of sustainable development, whereas the SDGs embrace the social, environmental, and economic dimensions of sustainable development and integrate these with aspirations of society for inclusive and peaceful development, with human rights for all and gender equality and women's empowerment. And these are all, you know, and stronger partnership within and among countries. And these are all indivisible parts of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The level of ambition is greater. The interconnectedness of priorities is more important. And you know, more challenging at the same time. So I think the challenge then is to build on what the experience that was generated for the localization of the MDGs and the adoption of the CSDGs, and to take this one step further, you know, sort of creating a new generation, if you wish, of localization that enables the ambition of the agenda to be embraced, even as there is a certain amount of reality check on how that then, you know, can be achieved, starting with the national priorities as currently defined, and then looking at how national priorities will be shaped by the agenda and the SDGs going forward. So in the CSDGs, our expectation is, you know, is that, and we understand, you know, this is very much on the agenda, will be to see how the implementation of the SDGs can be sequenced, and how the priorities can be interlinked so that no one is left behind, so that the vulnerabilities that remain from the MDG implementation are fully prioritized and integrated into the CSDG plans. And lastly, I would say that the accountability framework for the CMDGs was embodied, if you wish, sort of illustrated by the concept of a scorecard. Right? There were 9 goals for the CMDGs. There were a set of indicators. There were measurement, and periodically, the MDG scorecard, or the CMDG scorecard, was being put forward, documenting progress against the indicators. The accountability framework for the CSDGs is more ambitious again. There is accountability, as I was saying earlier, of the international community members to each other, and that is achieved through voluntary reporting by member states to the high-level political forum periodically, so not necessarily every year. They can choose when, and all countries developing are going to the high-level political forum and sharing with their peer member states what they have achieved and what challenges they're facing, both in the content of the SDGs, but also in the process of localizing, of engaging stakeholders, of defining, of finding suitable mixes of financing to achieve the goals, and so on. But there is also a greater accountability in the 2030 Agenda. There's greater accountability also to we, the people of the United Nations, to the citizens of the world, to the citizens of each country. because the 2030 agenda, as was mentioned earlier by CCC, was built from the ground up. It was built with the stakeholders, in consultation with all stakeholders. And therefore, there's an expectation also that accountability for results is not just about producing reports that go to the UN, but it's about the whole of a society, you know, in this case, the whole of the Cambodian society, to reflect together on how, basically progress has been achieved, how everyone has contributed to the implementation of the SDGs.
Thanks, Claire. His Excellency Swandi, can you already confirm that there will be an additional goal to the 17 SDG on the demining? Is it okay to confirm now or not yet?
Yeah. Before I just mentioned that 17 goal is from the global. We approve all the goals 17. But the government also asked to add one more goal, is about 18th goal about the man clearance.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have another one goal, and the goal has 3 targets and 3 indicators.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so 18. Okay.
Yeah, 18 goals.
Okay. Yeah, so Madam Claire considered the broader scope of sustainable development goal as opportunity if we compare to CMDG, Cambodian Millennium Development Goal. But from the localization process point of view, can you also tell the audience briefly about some of the challenges of trying to localize 18 now, it's not 17, but 18 goal. So what are some of the constraints or challenges that MOP has been facing in the process of localization? I heard from a lot of people about difficulty in collecting data, setting indicator. Any other challenges? You know?
Yeah, of course, very important issue we need to discuss here. The challenge we face and facing a lot right now, because right now we did not complete the localization process yet. The challenge is I just divide it into 2. One is about the capacity. So the capacity of Lyme disease, because we cooperate, we ask them to work and to select the indicator and fulfill the criteria that we ask them to do. So back to the previous I just mentioned. First, select the indicators. Got indicator that appropriate to the sectoral context. So they have to fulfill the other criteria. So definition, methodology to calculate that period. Now, first, they try to collect only indicators, and they try to only collect, and they create more indicator, because they seeing that one indicator will be create activity in the agency to implement. They have a job for their staff. But when they ask them to fulfill the criteria, they have no, some agency, they have no capacity to do that. So especially the methodology to calculate the value of indicators. That's the problem. So they still ask time and time more to discuss, internal discuss about to complete the criteria that they ask them to do. So that's the one very big challenge. And of course, not only in the in internal agency they have to work. They also we also ask them to work with the development partner and other stakeholder to be used to fulfill the criteria. So the methodology and set up the baseline and target. So very difficult to them. the second one about the data that you just mentioned. So you may know the report about the rapid integration assessment that conducted by the UNDP, UNRC, that helped us to conduct the survey about what is the data existing for the compared to the SDG indicators. Now, the result about around 35% of indicators, SD indicator, have existing data. So the remain, we have to create activity to collect data to support. So the problem is, for us the criteria is indicator that select have to have very exactly data source to support not only today, also for the next 15 years, 16 to 30. So if they don't have data support, that's the problem, because we cannot accept the indicator that not data support. Now, for the data support, of course, we accept all data from administration data and also from the survey and census data. The existing data that I just mentioned, around 35% existing, is come from administration data and also the existing survey and census. Now we have socio-economic survey, we have demographic and health survey, and we have population census, agricultural census, economic census. From all that source can be support to the indicator, SDG indicator. But we have the problem. Even the existing survey and census, because right now development have the policy to graduate cut off the financial support and ask the government to have financial themselves to support the activity data collection. So right now the government still face the problem of financial support to the activity, like the census and survey. Some survey and census a very big amount of money to conduct, around 7 to 8 million for one census, and one survey of 1 or 2 million US dollar for conduct, because the survey, now the census is the overall country, but the survey, if we try to conduct the national represent, because we cannot conduct only small simple survey and represent for the whole country, for the nation. So survey must be a little bit big, simple. So that's why that we facing the data support for the SDG, and now we try to cooperate and with a development partner as to when they cut off financial support to the government, ask them to cut step by step, not immediately cut, so that this policy, the government can be cover step by step to the activity. So that's to challenge face to the SDG localization. So right now we still delay our localization from the end of second quarter of 2017. Right now we are not yet finished.
Thanks, Excellency. Dr. Sotiri, you mentioned earlier in your remark that civil society in Cambodia has been providing input directly or indirectly through raising awareness and coordinating among civil society to provide technical input and helping to generate data and new knowledge through research, which I think is very useful for the government given the lack of data to set indicator and goal. So I'm just wondering how well received the input from civil society submitted to the government that you think so far.
Thank you, Dr. Pekadai. Yeah, before I respond to this question, I would like to echo what I have mentioned previously about what mechanism that civil society have used in the past regarding channeling our inputs to the government. So officially, we use the platform called Technical Working Group on Planning and Poverty Reduction, PPRTWG. And through that, we have official membership where we can have some space, some negotiation or compromisation with the government. And through this platform, particularly that we try to talk to our fellow NGO, fellow membership-based organization, and consolidate our inputs in advance. Yeah. Besides that, we also we as a civil society have also our membership in the technical working group. And it's not only through that technical working group on planning and poverty reduction where we can channel our inputs, but through other various technical working groups, we have to ensure that at least we have one of the agenda of the technical working group meeting where we talk about the update, about the progress or way forward regarding the SDG localization. So this is what we have done so far. And there is any other ongoing discussion platform like the one we do within civil society itself, the one we also regularly ask for regular dialogue with UN agency and other development partners, as well as with the private sector. Yeah. So by referring back to your question on how well or how effective our inputs were addressed or accepted by the government, actually we still recognize that only some certain inputs were admitted by the government, especially through various line ministry, because MOP is only the coordinating and agency of the government, so it's the role, it's the commitment of the line agency to talk to relevant civil society organization. Sometimes, even though we provide the inputs, but we need to ensure that the data collection, the piece of information that we provide to the government are made through the professional research, professional study, so that the piece of information can be reliable and can be, accepted without any suspicious about the source or validity of that information. So it's a question back to us. Civil society, even though we have 5,000 organizations, but the capacity of each organization is remain limited. So somehow if only one they try to produce piece of research without having the coordination among others, so it cannot validate or put more weight into the reliability of that information. So this is one of our weakness, that sometimes we produce, we submit the information, but there is no reliability background that we can make sure 100% that our information is bias free or full reliability. Second thing, I think it's also reflect about the fragmentation of partnership arrangement between civil society, the government, development partner, and the private sector. There is no any rule, there is no any obligatory commitment of the government to address all the input raised by civil society or private sector or DP. So it belongs mostly to the willingness, it belongs to our lobbying capacity, and it also relate to the piece of information that we generate and we submit to them. So as I already told that there is no obligation for them to address the input. So as far as we can promote the trust, we can rest assured that our partnership, our, space to talk to any line ministry is good. We can channel our input better than any other channel that there is trust, less trust or less partnership arrangement with that within civil society and the government. And the third one, it's also refer to the structure of civil society itself. I already said that unlike the government, unlike DP agency, we still have a very loose structure within civil society. So whenever there is any question regarding the representativeness of civil society, it also remains a big challenge for us. So far, even we try to see how well civil society can strengthen our governance structure, for example, by using SDG as the umbrella, and we can put any leading or any coordinating agency under each of the specific goals, so on and so forth. But we still have a very big challenge because some organizations, they just don't have any commitment. Some, they said it's too much for them to contribute to that. Some said that, oh, they still have a lot of emerging issues to deal with, like issue on language, issue on the rest of human rights, defender, so on and so forth. So there is less commitment actually on how we can work together to structure our governance or hierarchy decision making under that SDG umbrella. So I think those are also the challenge and can reflect back on why the input from civil society are not always addressed or accepted by the government.
Thanks, Dr. Turi, and all of the speakers. I think it's been very informative so far. This is my last round of questions, then I will open the floor to the audience to see if they got any additional questions for the speaker. So my question goes to Excellence Sawandi. So you mentioned that there has been some delay in the process. So I'd like to know what would be the next step, and when do you think that the process of localization will be completed?
Yeah, thank you. Maybe I a little bit mentioned before, but right now I just clarify that we plan to finish in the end of second quarter 2017. That means we send all the final draft to the government to approve the framework. But due to we have the challenge and the process the delay, we will have another inter-minister meeting in this month. And after that, we try to, in the process of sending to the government for approval, maybe we will have a meeting in SNEC, that the high-level meeting of the government. From that meeting, we expect to get policy direction from the meeting, and maybe also just maybe, because two of this meeting can be have both or can be have only one. So first is a SNEC meeting, another is the Financial and Political Committee, that also very high committee. We also would like to have this final draft of SDG to discuss in this meeting. And after that, the draft will be sent to the government for approval. We hope that the latest that I just said before, the latest is the end of 17 must be approved by the government. Not much delay from that. Yeah.
It seems like there will be 18 goals and more than 169 targets.
169 plus 3.
Plus 3.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a lot. Okay. Madam Claire, how will the UN agency contribute or engage in this last step of finalizing the SDG localization?
Thank you. Yes, so we have, as has been mentioned, so far supported the localization process through analysis of the alignment of the SDG global targets with national plans, policies, and strategies, and analysis on the feasibility of the global indicators in the local context. So we will continue to inform the process as it continues with analysis and research. The next round we're looking at, we haven't had a chance to discuss this yet with the Ministry of Planning, but we are looking at the possibility of analysis that would help in the sequencing of SDGs in the Cambodian context around the concept of meaning, what to do first, what are the priorities for implementation. And to inform this reflection, we are looking at analysis around the concept of acceleration. What would be areas of sustainable development where progress hasn't perhaps been as much as one would have hoped, that calls action by multiple sectors and can act as a lever for overall progress, particularly in reducing poverty, addressing vulnerability, and moving alongside more than one goal at the same time. So to give you a practical example, we have been discussing so far, for example, it's just one example, but nutrition. Why? Because nutrition addresses good health, it addresses good educational achievements. If you're not malnourished, you cannot learn well in school. It addresses human capital development and a productive labor force. It certainly addresses vulnerability and the needs of those who are, being left behind. So that would be, and in order to implement good nutrition, you have to look at it from different perspectives in terms of access, reliability, stability of supply of nutrition, but access to it, you have to look at how how the food is marketed as well as produced and so on. So you have to look at regulations, you have to look at the multiplicity of actors at different levels, at the national level and at the subnational level as well. So this is what we mean by accelerators, and we're grappling right now with an analytical framework that would help inform, not just in Cambodia, but this is something that is being done also globally, but that would inform the government in its conversation with the SNEC, within the SNEC and other parts of the process as have been outlined. The second point, in terms of the next steps and what we plan to do, is to continue to engage with the technical working groups. As Dr. Sotiri has mentioned, the United Nations agencies facilitate the leadership of government across several technical working groups, and we will continue to engage on the SDGs in those technical working groups. We also, I think the last point perhaps to mention, I would mention here, is engaging with stakeholders. So we will continue to engage with stakeholders. We have a long-standing partnership with civil society on advocacy, awareness raising, engagement behind the SDGs. We have noted that globally the SDGs have now also caught the attention of the private sector, and we are looking at modalities of engaging with the private sector in Cambodia. And then I think also on engaging with stakeholders, one of the challenges, definitely an opportunity, but also a challenge, is to bring along the subnational stakeholders at the subnational level, both government, local governments, national authorities, and basically actors who are active at the provincial, district, and commune level. As I said at the beginning, there is a firm belief globally, and it also applies to Cambodia, that to succeed in achieving the SDGs, all of society needs to come behind them, and therefore we think that this is going to continue to be important. This is something, as His Excellency has mentioned earlier, that has been pursued in the localization process. Then how do we perhaps accelerate that as well is something that we're looking at.
Thank you, Claire. My last question to you, Dr. Satiri. So we can hear that the process of localization is nearing completion, latest by the end of the year. Do you see still some room for civil society to provide input? And do you have any strategy to the next step, like Madame Claire mentioned, the prioritization of goal and identifying accelerator? Civil society has any strategy to engage with the UN to contribute to this process, even though the localization process is complete? Yeah.
Thank you. I think I don't have any point, as already talked by His Excellency and Claire, that we will use the technical working group as the main platform where we still have the official space to talk to other stakeholders. But somehow we realized that the time until the adoption by the government on the new CSDG won't be very much for us. So we don't have a lot of hope for that, but still we try to use our existing platform by either to talk at the meeting or by either just submitting our input directly to the ministry. For example, I think last month CCC, NGO Forum, and a few other organizations have already worked together to consolidate our input reflecting the draft of the CSDG. And we already submit that letter to the Ministry of Planning. And somehow we just wait to have some commitment, some willingness, and some availability of the ministry to address or even to call for a meeting with a CSO representative. Another point, I think it's also again about the governance structure of civil society by using the SDG as the main umbrella. Because without having ourselves structure or organized into that, we can't really produce significant or professional input for the government and DP. For example, if one organization, they just claim that they work on this goal, and that goal, so there will be vague or unclarity of information to be generated or to be disbursed to relevant stakeholders. So make sure that we have a very clear structure, the clear relevant organization who sit beside any specific goal of SDG, so that we can consolidate easily the inputs and information to feedback to the government and DPs. Next is also because the time won't be very long for us, and probably we cannot do much within the CSDG localization input. But how can we prepare ourselves to start implementing and monitoring the CSDG? So this is the time where CCC and other umbrella organizations will work together to ensure that there will be a good awareness, there will be a well understanding among civil society on what is the CSDG, what are the content, elements, the targets, the goal, the indicators, and also relevant information that civil society organization must understand and must, to some extent, need to align their priorities with the one belong to CSDG. Yeah. And last but not least, I think as already mentioned by Claire and previously also by me, that the role of private sector is very important. And I think probably it's very new to some of the participants that along the CSDG localization process, before that, there are also some discussion on financing for development, because SDG is a very complicated goals, complicated, arrangement to realize that a set of goals. So we need to make sure that there will be sufficient resource or inter-supported mechanism where every actor can put forward into realizing that SDG. So the role of private sector, as confirmed by the Financing for Development International Conference, is very crucial. That they said that to realize SDG, it should be bear with the primary responsibility of the state country. But international community just act as the catalyst and to provide enabling environment to each of the state country. So the private sector in Cambodia is perceived that it's a very important actor also to drive, to sustain, and to realize that Cambodian sustainable development goal. So the role of civil society here is to continue to have more dialogue, continue to build more trust, and to absorb more private sector to be, understanding about their role, understanding about their responsible investment action, to understand about their accountability to development. So I think those are some priorities for civil society organization to push forward either through that localization process or beyond that phase.
Thanks, Dr. Sateri. So I agree the role of CSO is far from over. It's actually just the very beginning of the implementation of SDG. Thanks a lot to all the speakers. I think the discussion that we just had for the past hour provide a very good background for the audience on the process of localization of SDG. So now the floor is open to the audience. If you got any questions that you like to clarify, follow up, or anything that we missed, important thing that we missed from the discussion, please raise your hand, and then I send our colleague to give the mic to you so you can ask a question. So I can see some hand in the middle. Please wait for the mic. My colleague is bringing the mic to you.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy today to attend this event. In fact, I would like to say thank you again to our speakers who share very great experience and knowledge about SDGs to the participants today. And Mr. Sinha from Bultan Consulting, I'm a researcher. In fact, I have two questions, and also it seems to be a comment as well. The first one is about the term we call SDG localization, and the second one is about data deficiency to reflect the SDG achievement. So in terms of SDG localizations, I believe that at least there are two stages here, and mostly we talk the first stages. The first stage is localization is about the adoption of SDG in the countries. For example, we are trying to integrate into the policy. So from policy perspective, this is a kind of putting the agendas, let's say, in the policy. So we are trying to do, and let me say again, thank you very much to the Ministry of Planning, who is trying very hard to do that. However, the second one of the term localization is about the integration into the policy at subnational level, and this is the most important thing, I believe. Because we have the policy at national level, might not be enough. Let's say the policy implementation will be effective if we make sure that those implementers at the grassroots understand about it very well. And in our context now, in the administration reform and let's say that the supervisions of the Ministry of Interior, especially NCDD, we are trying to move forward with functional transfer. So by the end of this year, as far as I know, there will be a mass change at subnational level. We are trying to transfer the functions to subnational levels, to provincial level, to district level, and to community level. And I believe that to realize SDG goal, we have to rely on them. We rely on subnational administrations. And I don't heard much from subnational level about the understanding of SDG. That's my concern. Even we have some kind of challenge, like His Excellency from the Ministry of Planning has just raised in terms of integrating into the policy at national level. But the problem, the biggest problem and the biggest challenge, I believe, for Cambodia is about how to make sure that those implementers at subnational level understand about what SDG is. And that's a problem. So I may think that my questions would be, when we are integrating SDG in the policy at national level, how we thought about how we rely it at subnational level as well. That's the question relating to SDG localization. The second one about the data deficiency to reflect the SDG achievement. I do agree with His Excellency as well that yes, we have some kind of shortages in terms of collecting data, and also data not only for SDG achievement, but also for other work as well. The government now, as far as I know, we rely mainly on administrative data. And as we see, normally industry is chosen, we present our achievement each year through annual conference, a meeting, or congress, whatever we call. That's about presenting administrative data, and somehow it reflects our operations rather than what we achieve. And normally I don't see much that in this data, in this report, reflects about what we plan. Normally we are trying to present what we have done rather than the achievement. Okay, so in order to understand how much we achieve, we have to compare between the plans and the achievement. So somehow I do agree that we have a lot of problem with this one. But Excellency also raised about some problem relating to some kind of reliable data, such as CSS or CDHS, for example, or population survey. Just mostly I use all this data because I rely, and I believe that it is more accurate through some kind of surveys or research. We have more accurate data than administrative data. So if we have this problem in terms of resources or capacity to collect all this data, so how we plan to strengthen in terms of collecting data to reflect SDG? Thank you.
All right, thanks for the questions and comment. Maybe I ask our speaker to address these two key questions first before I open the floor for another round of questions. So if I may summarize, he got two key questions. One is on the level of localization of SDG. What he suggested is that what we've been discussing is more like integrating SDG at the national policy level. His question is, what is the plan to integrate that into the sub-national level, because they play a very crucial role in the successful implementation of SDG. So what has been done, or what is going to be need to be done to integrate SDG at the sub-national level? The second question he has is on the data availability and credibility that we use to formulate indicator and target. So he suggested that administrative data can be a bit misleading because sometimes they confuse achievement as with what they've done, what they've done, not necessarily achievement until they compare with the plan. So he asked whether we got any strategy or plan to improve the data collection process to make it more reliable. So I think this question is more relevant to His Excellency Suwandi, but Claire and Dr. Sutiri, feel free to contribute if you feel that you have something to contribute. Yep.
Can I know where you come from? Which agency you come from?
A consulting company.
Oh, company, okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you for your interesting questions. Now, related to the question one, integration as CSDG into the subnational level. So, I mentioned a little bit about integration as CSDG in the CSDG framework into the NSDP, the National Strategic Development Plan, that national plan. Of course, I will come up with your question in subnational level. As I mentioned that we will start to prepare new NSDP in early 2018. So we finish the framework CSDG at least at the end of 2017, and we will have it to integrate fully into the new NSDP in early 2018. Of course, you may know about the structure of policy and strategy. We have rectangle strategy, we have an SDP, we have sectoral planning, of course, sectoral strategy planning, and also we have the subnational level planning. We can call provincial strategic development plan, so that for each province we have it. Of course, when they prepare the provincial or capital strategic development plan, the planner, the subnational planner, based on the national strategic plan. So they will be based on an SDP, and also will be based on sectoral planning. And based on it, they can produce the strategic development plan. Of course, we integrate CSDG framework into the national plan and sectoral plan, and from that, an SDP and sectoral plan will be the reference document for planner in the subnational level to integrate into the subnational level. That's the flow structure of our policy strategy. But we will have, after we finish the CSDG framework, we will conduct dissemination. So dissemination we conduct in national level. Of course, we would like to have the government, the Prime Minister to head to oversight the plenary, the dissemination in the national level, and we plan to conduct dissemination at subnational level. No budget constraint, we cannot disseminate in each province, but we can conduct regionally. One regional, we can invite from 2 or 3 representatives from provinces to join, and they will understand the SDG, and they can refer to the CSDG framework to integrate when they prepare the sectoral plan in their province. That I think that is the the good way to integrate CSDG into the subnational level. Of course, two ways. One is based on the national plan and sectoral plan as a reference document, and also based on the directly CSDG framework that we will disseminate in the province. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency Savanthi. Claire and Dr. Satedi. Yes, another question on data collection. Yeah.
Data collection. Of course, as I mentioned, that data would be the administration data and also the data from survey and census. Of course, data to collect data from survey and census, we spend a lot money to collect data. While we are trying to prioritize that the data from census and survey is accurate, that we should choose it compared to the administration data. We also try to strengthen the quality of administration data. Not in the data collection, not under my unit. You may know that the Ministry of Planning, we have different units. The general department, rank general department. The National Institute of Statistics is the unit that is responsible for data collection. And for my unit is a planning unit responsible for policy and planning preparation. So the National Institute of Statistics try to strengthen the administration data, not by the administration structure as the line ministry and also provincial planning department, because provincial planning department and the department have planning and statistics and M&E together. So ask provincial planning department to collect data, administration data, and send it to the Ministry of Planning. So National Institute of Statistics has one department responsible for the administration data. So of course we try also to strengthen the data from the administration data. Even the administration data and data, the first, I mean the data from survey and census is we are prioritize to the data from survey and census, but we also try to strengthen the process of data collection, because still some roaming that data from survey is still not good quality. So yeah, we try to strengthen both data from administration data and also data from survey and census. Thank you.
Anything to add? Okay, thanks. All right, so maybe another round of question. This is really the last one due to time constraint. We got 3 hands, so please keep your question short and please tell your name and where you're from. I get 3 of them in one go. All right, so gentleman in the front.
Yeah, hello. My name is Ratha. I'm a freelance consultant. I just support this idea regarding the integrated policy into the subnational level, as I have worked a lot with the subnational level, especially commune. As I know, they have a commune investment plan called CIP, and then they integrate to the district investment plan. So I think this is my comment. This is the idea. This is the good opportunity that Ministry of Planning should be involved in the planning. At least per province, at least one provincial planning in the all district, And the district planning, it's not much. It's like one province depend on how many districts they have, 9 or 10 towns per district. And also it's the role of development partner and the civil society engaged in the planning also. That is the activity, but I'm not sure how to mobilize resources to do that. That is my question, how to mobilize that resource to do that. And also regarding the policy, putting SDG into policy, especially localization, is it Ministry of Planning have any plan to develop the public forum to debate on the policy? Is it any idea of that, or any existing mechanism of that? If so, how can public engage like us? We can engage, or we can get information of that. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Two questions. One on resource mobilization for Ministry of Planning to support some national level, and second is the consultation process. How can we make the public more engaged in the process? I can see some hand in the middle. Priority to the lady in the front. Yeah. Please again keep your question short and tell us your name and your workplace.
Okay, thank you. My name is Dalis, and I'm from CSO sectors.
Okay.
And I have also learned about SDG localization concepts, some processes that are taking forward, and also challenges and commitment to achieve for final approval from government very soon. And my question is that so far, is there any digital platform that have been put in place in the indicators or some action in order to leverage these contributions of SDG localization process as well as implementation? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, digital platform, very interesting question. A gentleman over here, red T-shirt on this side, please. Yeah.
Good morning. My name is Supip Sreng. I am from the U.S. Agency for International Development. My present this morning is purely personal. I have 3 questions. First question is that why should young people, perhaps the students, be interested or be curious about these SMDGs and their localization process? Second question is, we are in the university, and it reminded me of about 15 years ago when I was trying to connect the MDG to my field of studies. I couldn't make it. I was confused. It took me so many years for me to understand the relevance between MDG and myself. So that second question is that what roles should these young students play in achieving SDGs? And the third question is that what pieces of advice would you give them so that they become the drivers rather than the passenger? Thank you.
Thank you. So, very honest but practical questions. Claire mentioned that SDG is everyone's business. So how can we make this concrete, especially for young people, because it's a bit indirect. Okay, thanks. Due to time constraint, I think I will close the question here and give the floor to the audience to respond to some of these questions. Anyone would like to start first? Maybe Excellency Sawandi, yes.
Yeah, no, about the mobilization resource, the first question. No, I understand that the process of preparation of provincial strategic development is also not also referring to the national and sectoral plan, and also based on the demand from the commune. No, we can say that we have the structure that the commune level have prepared their action plan, not the PIP, the commune public investment plan. And the plan have to integrate into the provincial strategic development plan. Now, to integrate into the provincial strategic development plan, they have to go through the discussion in the district level. Okay. And after that, all the action plan, or the plan get from the commune level will be combined together, and of course will be integrated into the provincial investment plan in the provincial level. That is the modality of the preparation that we got demand from the grassroots level, the commune level, and we integrate into the provincial strategic development plan. Of course, the resource for the preparation of to support the process will be supported by the government. Of course, we have the fund support for the commune, and for the activity support to implement the activity. I mean the action plan in the provincial investment plan. That's based on the budget of the government and budget of the development partner too. I think this is similar to the PIP, Public Investment Program in national level. We got all the program from line ministry, and also we mentioned about the financial support to the program. Of course, in the process of priority the program, each program, we have the criteria 1 to 6 that the criteria set under the Department of Investment Planning. That what is the first priority of program. So the program has financial support. I mean that the line ministry have already committed support from development partner or other source. That program would be the first priority. And also compared to the program in subnational level, I think it's also we have meeting in district level that discuss about the data province financial support to the each program, and if the program has the financial support already committed by the development partner, that would be the first priority. I think that this mobilization not only come from the government and also come from the development partner. For the public policy debate, that's your question. Of course, the not initial planning not only focus on the SDG or an SDP, but in general it covers the high policy level is a regional strategy. The government has the public debate that do every every month. I think that at least once a month, and not Ministry of Planning. A lot from the joint the committee, as I can say, the small committee that will be led by one management from the government and a representative from Line Ministry, and go to each province, maybe also to the district and also to commune, that have the debate, public debate about the result of the implementation of rectangular strategy. No, if we focus only on the CSDG, no, we don't have that. But when we finish the CSDG framework, when approval, we can include this agenda into the existing debate. The third question from CSO. Can you clarify this question from
I
CSO?
think they were asking for a digital platform to share information regarding the localization process and how civil society can contribute, right? Yeah, so digital platform, do we have that kind of platform yet? Like online platform to share, keep the public informed of the process of localization, where we are at now and how they can contribute in each stage?
No, actually, we don't have it yet. No, as Dr. Sateri said, we have only the mechanism, that the TWG mechanism, that if you want to contribute something, I think from NGO, we have two main NGO can contribute this kind. Of course, I think that every month, NGO from CCC have the meeting, and in this meeting you can raise something provide to the meeting, and NGO from and CCC can get this comment and information and go to the technical working group, joint technical working group, and will be discussed further the government, Ministry of Planning and the ministry. For the role of the role of young people, isn't it? Yeah. Of course, the young people also the member of the Cambodian, also the Cambodian. I think I mean, no, young people. They have a lot of young people. Young people maybe they now student. Yeah, maybe the young people also working as the workers. Young people also working in other agency, NGO, also the young people. If you think about the young people as students, no, student right now, they cannot contribute the implementation of the SDG yet, but they should try to understand, to learn about the SDG, and while understand about it, of course, they will not stay the student for whole life. They'll finish the student and go to work. So after that, in terms of student, they understand all about SDG, and after that, when they get the job, they can apply their knowledge to implement, to achieve the SDG. Of course, learning is also the activity to achieve the quality of population, also contributed to achieve the SDG. The last question is about how can to be the driver rather than passenger. Yeah. Of course, the driver, you mean the management, isn't it? The passenger just follow the driver. Yeah. Of course, the people that they get the knowledge, they can provide the comment, provide the direction to other people, the capacity, the knowledge can become the driver. But the people, no, the capacity will be different. Even they learn in the same class, they work in the same place, but the knowledge of the people different. And the people, they are seem not get well from the experience, from the work, from lesson, from the class. They will stay as the passenger. That is, they try to understand, try to get experience and apply the experience. They will become the driver. I think that is my perspective. Maybe the other people can have another idea, but rather than me. Thank you.
Thanks, Sensei, for addressing all of the questions. Before I give the floor to other speakers to contribute as well, I think the online initiative is a very good one. Unfortunately, we don't have it yet, but Enrich Institute will look into it. Okay, I will discuss with Claire on how we can set up an online platform, not for maybe too late for localization, but for tracking implementation of SDG. I think that's been done in other countries as well, regionally and globally, so there may be something that Cambodia can learn, benchmark from. So we look into it and we discuss with UN agency on how we can work on this. So Claire and Satiri, you have anything to address to those questions?
Just very short response to all of the questions. Just most of the questions, not all, actually. Regarding the mainstreaming of the CSDG into the subnational development plan, I think because through the subnational development, democracy development, they're also developing the new plan, implementation plan of SNDD. I think this is a good chance that through CCC, engagement with the Ministry of Planning, we try to mainstream the CSDG agenda, even it's not yet fully adopted by the government, but as much as possible, we try to mainstream that CSDG into that new phase of IP3 formulation process. The second one is about having the dissemination workshop among civil society organization. So we are sure that we already have planned, and upon having the fully endorsed document from the government, we will start to provide the dissemination workshop on CSDG to civil society organization, to our members, even at the national level, even to the provincial CSO network, so that we can ensure that everyone, everywhere, they have piece of information, they have awareness in mind, and they know what is the proper way to channel the SDG, either top up, top down, or either from the grassroots level. The third point is regarding the digital platform. Of course, I agree with other speaker that we don't have this platform available yet. But for civil society organization, we already established a think tank group called CSDG think tank. So that think tank group will perform various roles, and I think they are going to organize different strategies where they can ensure that the input, the voice from civil society organization and from the community at the grassroots will be heard, and we are sure that we will not leave anyone behind that global development agenda. And just one last point regarding the young people engagement. I think this is a very good question, but this is also based on the logical development of people as well. Since this is the 15 years development agenda, so make sure that either in between the implementation process or by the end of CSDG, those youth people, those young people will become adolescents. So there is no matter how we should engage them or should take care of their voice from the beginning. And So far, there are many youth-based organizations, either formed at the university level or formed as the independent organization, but they carry along various roles where every youth, every young people can understand how can their perception, how can their knowledge, how can their capacity can be consolidated together with other youth to ensure that they have space and they can contribute to sustainable development for Cambodia.
Thank you. So I think a lot of things have already been said. Perhaps to add, then yes, I would say from my perspective, endorsement of the notion that the SDG localization needs to be linked to the decentralization deconcentration reform, and it is. We've heard already how that is happening. The question then becomes, continuing the effort of building capacity of actors at the commune level, at the grassroots level, so that this becomes a sort of part of their normal business. I think fundamentally, ultimately, this can only be effective if it is embedded in the normal functioning of national institutions, national entities at the subnational level. As for resources, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the Royal Government of Cambodia has endorsed this fully, foresees greater mobilization of domestic resources, sort of to put more national resources behind the implementation of the SDGs, and to then forge partnerships with other actors to augment these resources in order to meet the goals. So the first, sort of one of the key frontiers, if you wish, then for resource mobilization is precisely the mobilization of domestic resources in order to achieve this. But as His Excellency has mentioned, of course, development partner community has been a long partner of the government and with other actors, including non-governmental organizations, to support the implementation of the decentralization deconcentration reform, the strengthening of capacities at the commune levels and above, and so on. With regard to the digital platform, I think the question was interesting because it opens up this possibility of big data in a way, of how citizens can contribute to creating a picture and a story of how the SDGs are progressing. And we've heard some reflections on that already. We've also heard that there's some work being done for digital platforms. At the moment, they are primarily focused on awareness raising, I would say. For our part, the UN family, we did very early on create a Facebook page. There is a SDG Cambodia Facebook page. It's not interactive, but we regularly post their information on the process, including stages, sort of established, completed, I would say, stages in the localization process. So you can get their information about what's happening on the global scene and what's also happening on the local scene for SDG localization. We're looking at the next, a new offering, something else, perhaps more exciting. It's a bit too early for me to talk about it yet, but we are in the process of trying to ramp up at least the access to information on the global SDGs in English and Khmer. So let's see how that goes. Come back to us in October. Yes, the voice of the youth was a priority for the elaboration of the SDGs. The My World survey that captured more than 8 million voices around the world, put a premium on reaching out to you. So as was said also earlier, the the SDGs respond also to what young people in Cambodia said was most important to them. Health, education, environmental conservation and governance, I think, were among the top priorities. I would say that the SDG agenda is, in its content, is very relevant. It may be a little bit intimidating in its format, but certainly in its content, it's right where the youth have said from the beginning, you know, the priorities should be. There are various fora that are taking place at the global, regional, and national level, where youth can engage in discussion on what it means to implement the SDGs, how youth can contribute. For the UN, I think volunteering is one clear and concrete avenue that we are promoting with the youth volunteer networks. And there have been already fora, discussions, and recommendations from youth on International Volunteer Day, International Youth Day, as some of the occasions, to how youth can volunteer and can engage in their community, in their family, you know, in their schools, to promote the SDG agenda at this stage, to make sure everyone understands why it's relevant and important, and then in time also then to implement them in the national framework. How to relate it then fundamentally to fields of studies? Well, there is hardly any field of study that the SDGs don't touch on, from environment to decent employment to energy to, you know, you name it, it's in the, you know, gender equality, to it's in the SDGs. So again, it comes back then to maybe looking at what's there and sort of seeing how young people frame their studies and their vision of how they want to contribute to society, what kind of jobs they want to do, and how that is going to contribute to the goals. How this is going to contribute to leaving no one behind at the end of the day. Innovation, entrepreneurship, you know, that is all on the list of how young people can practically contribute. Yeah, I think that's what I'll say for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. I think we now come to the end of the talk, so on behalf of the organizers, I'd like to sincerely thank our distinguished speaker for spending your Saturday morning with us and sharing your experience and personal view. I think the discussion that we had for the last 2 hours are very useful to provide background and progress on SDG localization. I'm sure that CCC and UN and the government will work together on promoting public awareness and contribution in the near future. So for the audience here and those who are watching our live stream, thanks for your time, and we look forward to meeting some of you again in our talk next month. With that, thanks to everyone. Thanks a lot.